Zach here from Gravel Bike California to tell you if you should get the new 10 or if there's a better GoPro that works for you. This review does not go to 11. I'll explain to you which improvements are important and throw in some hard truths about the 10, especially when you're on a bike. For context, why an action camera? They're cool little video devices with typically wide-angle lenses to make you look speedy and slow-mo options to make you look badass. At the same time, they're compact and in practice, easy to bring along for whatever activity you do. GoPro has always been at the forefront of action cameras, but they took a big leap in 2018 with the Hero Black 7, offering gimbal-like stabilization that was a game changer for smoothness, especially if you go off-road like me. Instead of doing it mechanically, GoPro achieves this digitally as a portion of the video is cropped out to allow for movement and then scaled back up to 4K. It's a little like stretching silly putty, but at this resolution, most people won't notice. The larger Hero10 took a step forward, even using the same processor as the previous two, but now offering 25% more resolution at 5K, which would pair back to a better 4K image. As a bonus, GoPro also offered a horizon leveling feature, which is great for people like me who can't keep a camera straight. Already owning the 7 and 8, it wasn't a big enough upgrade to justify me buying the 9. First of all, shooting 60 frames per second was important in 4K. While I had problems with the 7 freezing, the 8 worked pretty smoothly. When GoPro introduced 5K at only 30 frames per second, that induced sour mouth taste. The most promising thing that came out of the 10 is their new processor. But did it create more problems than it solved? Right off the bat, GoPro introduced the one feature that kept me from buying the 9. That's offering 4K at 120 frames per second. Obviously, it looks so cool, but it's important to me because when you're shooting live action, you may only have fractions of seconds to grab material. Previously, this frame rate was only offered at 2.7K, which was serviceable enough to upscale to 4K videos. But on top of having the resolution, the color looks a little less compressed on the 10. I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Furthermore, you have the option of shooting at 240 frames per second at 2.7K. And it looks a lot cleaner than the previous versions, which only offered it at 1080. Plus, you can look all reservoir dogs too. Now, the jump from 5K to 5.3K isn't a big game changer on the 10. But offering 60 frames per second on all 3 lens mode, including horizon, that's a bigger deal. Because the more footage you can use, the more flexibility you have in post. Still, I maintain the best camera to own is the one that you use. And there's some roadblocks with the 10, and the others might work out better for you. The main issue with the 10 comes with its new processor, because you don't have to be a techno nerd to realize it gets really hot fast. Other people have reported that their cameras have frozen after about 20 minutes at the higher resolutions. But even when I tried doing it at just 1080, mine froze after just 73 minutes. And if you're someone who likes letting their camera run, this is a significant problem. As a commuter, I run with 2 cameras, both front and rear, in case it's my word against someone else's. But owning 2 cameras with questionable reliability does not scream value. If your sole purpose is to record as much as you can, I'd suggest other cameras with longer battery lives, like the Drift XL or the Fly 6. Another issue that may give you pause is asking yourself if you're getting value out of the video you actually use. Side by side, the 10 looks similar in both picture and image stabilization as well. I thought I hit a major difference with low lighting riding into the shadows, but then I realized my camera was just dirty. Seeing how the 7, 8, and 9 share the same processor, you can expect similar results between the three. You can find it if you look closely enough, but you'll see a slightly higher resolution and a better contrast with the 10. While the colors here look more vibrant on the 8, GoPro started giving 2 color options with the 9, adding a third with the 10. In this case, I was using the natural setting, but the vibrant on the 10 is comparable to the 8. Another detail I was curious about was the horizon leveling. On the Fly, I've always had issues keeping my camera straight, and I appreciated how well this worked when I started off kilter. Still, in the future, I hope they offer this with more wide-angle lens options than the linear. On top of being off-center, I was curious how it worked swinging back and forth. And with limited movement, it worked pretty well. But with some lively cantering, like on a downhill, it's noticeable. And dare I say, a little distracting when the camera corrects itself. When you compare how footage looks just next to the regular old 7, can you guess which camera undesirably grabs your attention? If you notice that slide, the 10's the one on your left. It bothered me enough that I had to experiment down on 4K. And while it looked nicer, I'm not completely sold. Now that I've placed some doubt in your head, what do you do with all this information? Think about how most cyclists use their cameras. Whether you place it on your helmet, handlebars, or chest, most footage you see is forward-facing. This makes sense because it's practical to have your camera affixed to your bike while riding, and looking ahead is what we do. From this angle, you're not going to use slow-mo much because you're trying to give people a sense of speed. And people are going to think you're kind of weird if you're showing off butts at anything less than real time. Using slow-mo is best when you're taking a detailed shot, but you're better off capturing that with your camera in your hand. But that requires having a particular setup, and you can't quite use it at high speeds, or else you'll get this. And if you're only going to do a couple shots during a ride, just consider pulling over and bringing out that nice cell phone camera that you already have. You also have to think, what am I going to do with this footage once I have it? If you're mainly posting to Facebook or Instagram, they're going to downsize your 4K footage to 1080, meaning you'll probably be fine with the cheaper 8 or 9. Another thing to consider with cost when purchasing a GoPro is purchasing off of their site and paying the extra $50 a year for their subscription service. It pays for itself right off the bat, knocking at least $100 off of retail on all their models. But you can cancel it within a year and still come out ahead. I still think it's a value because it offers unlimited storage for all your footage, which is one of the major headaches of owning a camera. Plus, they also offer discounts on crash replacement and accessories. Trust me, you'll come out ahead. So, final verdict. I can't deny the 10 takes a big leap and does some really cool things. But you have to weigh that against the reliability factor. Sure, I bought one, because there's certain shots that I need that are important for my long-form videos. But will it replace my mounted 7 and 8s? That's a no. The 8 and 9 are still available on the GoPro site at cheaper prices, and if I even found a used 7 at a reasonable price, I'd be in on that too. But if you can't get rid of that little voice in the back of your head that really wants it, spend the extra money and you will still be okay. I can't provide a definitive answer on this one, but hey, sometimes life isn't black and white. Look for more videos, like tips for how to film while on a bike, as well as our gravel guides, which also uses all these cameras. And if you can support us on Patreon, through our shop, or even click on this annoying little circle in the corner of the screen, that will help us bring you more from the State of Dirt.